I've been riding on a daydream. Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out RV Daydream. And Heidi and I are out in the camper. It's a decent day today.
It is. It's nice. It could be.
Yeah, considering that it's mid-November.
Yeah, we could have snow.
Yeah, that we could definitely have snow by now. We started winterizing the camper. We got to go get some RV antifreeze. I blew out all the lines. I like to do that. Our whole mission here today is to give you some sort of an update where we stand. We haven't done one since we were camping up at East Harbor. Or no, we kind of did an update at West Branch, yeah. But it's been a while, so we thought we'd touch on a few things. And this is going to be like some hard questioning. I wrote down a bunch of questions that we haven't really discussed too much and just ran them through past Heidi like in 5 minutes just to give her a heads up of what I was going to go over. And we're not going to have answers to these questions necessarily. This is going to be more what our thoughts are. Some of them we know for sure. We know the answers. Other ones we're just still preparing. And this is our quest to go full-time and what we still want to consider. These questions may or may not pertain to you directly, but what we're hoping is that whenever we're discussing them, that there might be something that piques your interest or kind of gets you thinking. It just encourages thinking on your part. Might be something there that you want to think about and you didn't think about prior to us talking about it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I got a lot of questions and I got them bounced all over the place, so I try to categorize them so we're not so jumpy all over topics, but it still could happen, especially with me. Maybe Heidi will keep me on track. All right, question A. And a lot of these questions, again, I'm going to hear what Heidi has to say about them because we've discussed them to some extent, but not a lot. And this is part of the process, I think. So maybe some of this will turn into an argument. Maybe not. Okay, so question A, how do we want to handle our house? And if we're going to keep it, how are we going to keep it if we go full-time?
I don't know that answer yet.
Yeah.
It's a little bit down.
So how do we want to handle our house? Do we want to keep it?
I would say at this point, yes, but...
Yeah, I think so too. And as far as if keeping it, how, I don't know. I'm not sure how we would do that. Because we still owe on it. Not a lot of money, but enough that you have to make payments on it. And of course the utilities to maintain it to some extent. I guess the reason behind the house is what if we don't like to be full-timers? So the next question is going to kind of go into that, and that is B. Do we want to try to stay in a local campground as seasonal full-timers to see how we like it, maybe for like 5 months? So basically what I'm suggesting there is, do we want to pay for a seasonal membership at one of these local campgrounds? It's like $1,200 for the year, and then actually try to stay in the camper the whole time to see how we can handle it. So I'm thinking that if we go to a campground and we try to live basically what we have in the camper only and what we may bring with us to try to live out there, other than a few trips back home to pick up some stuff, we might find that we're surviving just fine with the stuff that we have in the camper.
Maybe something that we could do.
Yeah, the outlay.
Couldn't be too far.
Yeah. Oh no, I think
from my work.
Paradise or Cuddy's or something like that.
Something close.
Yeah, make it easier for her work. All right, so that was B1, and I have another one, B2 here. At the point that we decide, yes, we definitely want to go full time. Do we want to rent it or sell it, or?
I think that's still kind of up in the air with our kids, the economy.
Yeah.
The location we live in.
Yeah.
Maybe we just want to off it and move forward. We can always find a place to live.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the same page with her on that, because the one thing, if you have kids that you may think, oh, I'm trying to save the house for them, you really need to talk to your kids, because they may not want your house, or they may not even realize they don't want your house until they start thinking about moving in. Of course, I don't think our kids, either one of them, really care for the area so much.
Right.
It's kind of remote, I guess. There's not a lot to do, and kids growing up, they want to go do stuff in their early 20s. So again, no answer on that, but just something to think about maybe in the future for us. But it's going to take the step of us finding out if we want to go full-time for sure after we tested the waters. If we go full-time, how much should we save for emergency? How much should we put away in our accounts for an emergency? I mean, I've watched some videos and guys have said, oh, you should have, $1,000, and then other guys are saying you should have $5,000. And I've heard one guy in particular said you should have a credit card with $5,000 to $20,000 on it. The whole thought of having too much money is not going to be something we're going to have. We will not have too much money saved up for emergency. There's just no two ways about it. But we don't want to have too little either.
Right.
So that's something to think about for sure. I would think that our current situation with our current trailer and our current truck, that I would think that $1,500 should be more than enough for most of our emergencies if we run into any.
Right.
Of course, we'll have some sort of RV insurance. I don't know if that will cover any kind of trip interruption or something like that. And going on that same amount of thought there, how about roadside emergency services? AAA, but I heard that AAA may not be the best. Some areas they don't even cater to, so that might be an issue. You might have to have two services.
Might find something on an insurance policy that has
very good,
decent
a rider or something. If we had an emergency to where we needed to stop for a while and we don't have funds available, do we have family we can stay with the RV? I would almost 100% say yes. It's one of those things. Depends on the emergency, depends where we're at, and how long we have to stay. But it's something to think about, boondocking in relatives' houses. All right, so this one goes into something that we've been thinking about for a long time, and that is if we want to get a bigger travel trailer, do we want to do it before we go full-time? I'm thinking probably yes, maybe. I mean, at this step, we would have to see if we want to go full-time. Again, using a local campground maybe. See what kind of limitations we have in this camper and how rough it is. And then that point, determine if we need to get into a bigger travel trailer. Or maybe this one might do okay, but we think that a bigger one would do better. But at that point, we would have to do a lot of towing with this one, and then see what the restrictions are and see if we can handle a little bit bigger and still feel the maneuverability that we do with this one. Because I don't want to go too big on a travel trailer. I was looking through Craigslist, and some of these that are for sale are just great. 38-foot bumper pull. I can't imagine a 38-foot bumper pull going to campgrounds in that. I mean, there's so many that I can pull into the campground with this camper and truck combination. Well, at least the old F-150, because it's the same length as the F-250. And I fit just perfect. I can unhook the trailer and I can back the truck up maybe a little crooked. And even on the smallest lots, we've always fit the vehicle on the lot or the pad with the trailer.
Can't see another 12 feet.
Yeah, another 12 feet, forget it. It'd be nice. I mean, I don't know what you do handsprings in there and stuff. But yeah, I think it would be nice to have a bigger one, for sure. Just a little bit bigger camper. I would think 28, maybe 30 is about it. And then we also have the fifth wheel option now that we have a truck that can handle it. So we'll maybe look into that at some point. But yeah, before we go full time, I think that we would get a travel trailer. We would get another travel trailer. That way I could work out all the bugs here with the travel trailer, because we're obviously won't be buying new. That's way too much money. And then we could go on the road. So that's the answer there. If we go full time, we would most likely get a travel trailer that's bigger before we actually went full time. What things at our house that we currently have in our house would have to absolutely come with us? The computer for sure, obviously, that we'd have to have the computer.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, it's not the computers are about it. The network attached storage, we would have to have that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not attached to anything.
Yeah. There's nothing. Not even appliances. Maybe some dishes that we like to use. Some pots and pans, some roasters or something. I don't know, the mini roaster.
Maybe a crock pot.
Yeah, the crock pot. Just small stuff.
But even then, the crock pots we have now are
They're too
too
big.
big for
Yeah.
the two of us.
Yeah, it's a family-sized crock pot. All right, so not very much. We've pretty much answered that one. The stuff that we need to keep safe, were storage units and safety deposit boxes. I don't know how much it costs for a safety deposit box at the bank, but I would think that there are some documents and stuff that I'd like to keep in a safety deposit box, because last thing I want is it to be in a travel trailer and it getting broken into, or a fire happen or something weird like that, and that shit burning up. As far as storage unit, I think that almost everyone that I've seen on YouTube that's discussed this, they've all gotten storage units, and they've been relatively large at first, and this is after they've had yard sales and stuff like that. And then after they're out on the road again, I think at that point we'll realize, hey, we don't need all that stuff, let's just get rid of it. But
I'm thinking no on a storage unit.
really, well, some stuff we'd have to have.
Well,
For example, like my grandmother's stuff that she left me.
what are you gonna do with that?
I give it to one of the kids, but
And you needed to just get rid of it now.
true.
Bring a piece of it with you. I mean,
yeah.
we can't.
Yeah, that's true. They can only fit so much in the back of the
Uh,
truck.
Well, and I mean, a storage unit. Now there's another bill,
Yeah, well, true.
and you got. I mean, I don't know. And
Yeah.
where's that storage unit gonna be?
Yeah,
We're here.
right.
I mean, I don't know.
True.
I mean, a storage unit is probably the safest place, but do we really have to have it? I mean, if we get down to a garage size full of stuff, most of that stuff can go. If it's not going with us and we're not coming back to a house, we don't need no storage unit. You're just gonna have to give up some of your stuff.
Yeah,
I don't have anything, so
you have a lot.
not much.
What about all your coin collection?
Well, I mean, I could sneak that in here.
Oh, we'll see.
I'm probably gonna get rid of that.
I think that we'll end up getting rid of a lot of stuff we've had for years that we don't want anymore. We haven't touched. We haven't done anything with. So storage unit sounds like probably not. Yeah, I probably agree with that. This is E. What age do we currently think we should be at when we finally take off? What age? If you had your way right now and you had all everything that you need as far as money and that, what age would you pick? Right now, probably.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. So my
By
thing is
55.
by 55. Yeah. I'm thinking I don't want to be too old. And here's the thing. She just says 55 and throws that out there because she thinks that's a number that's somewhere in the distance. But what she don't realize is that is only 6 years away from me. That's 6 years.
10 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, 10 years. So that means at that point I would be, almost 60 years old when you decide. Then who's to say I can't even hook up the frickin' camper to my truck at 60?
There's a bunch of 70-year-olds out there doing it.
That's true.
They do it all year long.
It's true.
But we might find a place that we want to stay for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You made a comment on Facebook the other day that when we move to Florida, that we ain't moving anywhere.
Yeah, we ain't moving anywhere. When we
we
move
may
the camper to Florida.
when we can't get around or whatever, but
yeah.
And he acts like we're moving to Florida with the camper. He's wrong.
Heat. I just want the heat.
He's wrong.
Yeah, we're not moving to Florida.
We're visiting Florida.
Yeah, for years at an end. I'm kidding.
We're
do
not
want to
going
travel.
straight down south and that's it.
Yeah, I definitely want to travel.
In fact, I don't even think we're going to Florida first.
No, I don't think so either. Even though I'd like to. No, we won't.
Because we won't leave.
We probably wouldn't leave. Yeah, we want to do it first. I'm thinking out west really bad.
I like to go out
because
west.
I've never been out there.
If you all have any suggestions on any of this stuff, let us know. I mean,
yeah,
some of you are already out there doing it. It looks easy. And here we are.
yeah,
Still sitting here.
yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons I also wanted to do all this is get us thinking about this again, because we've really gotten away from it. We gotten into that work routine, typical money problems, stuff that's coming up, bills that are due, what we need to get. I mean, stuff for the house. And I wanted to get back into the right mindset as far as, getting out there, and this helps. I mean, just talking it out gets it to where you start thinking about it more and you start wanting to do it more, and your decisions that you make at the house start getting you back in that direction again. Again, we know this ain't going to be a fast process for us, but it's maybe moving a little bit slower than I would like it to at this point, but we still have...
you wanted to do it yesterday.
Yeah, I wanted to do it yesterday. Yeah, I'd like just gone.
We're not financially...
Yeah, we're not ready for it.
For that at all.
Yeah, if we dropped all our bills, if we had no bills whatsoever, we could survive on what I have coming in. We could survive, but it would be rough. We'd still have to work. And that's kind of what we're going into next, and that is F. Are we wanting to work camp? What a great segue that last one was. Most work camping setups is that you work for a site and you may also get some pay. And I know that there's different things during the time of the year. The two things that I'm really interested in is that sugar beet harvest. That's kind of cool. But it's at such a late part of the season, and it is far away. I mean, you have to drive quite a ways for that, to do that. But that would be nice. And the Amazon thing during the holiday, the problem with that is we'd have to be south. I cannot do the northern part. So the Kentucky, any place that it's going to snow and the snow's going to stay on the ground, I don't want to be involved with from November to December, 31st. I don't want anything to do with cold snow, nothing.
All his family's here, so we'll be here, I'm sure, probably the week of Christmas.
No, we'll be down south somewhere. If we do work camping, Amazon's busy, that whole busy thing that they give you a site and they pay you. There is one, I think, down in Texas. So I'd have to do that because, I mean, if not, we're winterizing this camper or whatever camper that we have to the point where we'd be using the shower houses, or we would have to install tank heaters and all that crap on this one. I don't necessarily want to do that with this one because some people don't want to do that kind of camping. And if we're going to sell this camper, they wouldn't appreciate those additions. They wouldn't even use them.
Not around here.
So, would we want to work for a site? Honestly, I don't think that I would want to work. I don't know how Heidi feels about this, but I wouldn't want to work for a campsite or a campground that I wouldn't want to pay to stay in. I don't want to go to a place just because they're giving me a free site and work there and realize, you know what, I wouldn't want to work here if that's the, this is all they have to offer, and I just wouldn't want to do it. I would think that any place that would offer us a work camping position to give us a free site, you're going to have to want to stay there. I mean, because ultimately that's what you're working for, is what you're getting. And if you're not getting a lot, I don't think that I'd want to. So that's really hard on the work camping posts that I see. I really researched the crap out of the campground to see what they have to offer. But even then, we've been to some decent campgrounds, or drove through some decent campgrounds that would be pretty decent to stay in. But then we've gone through other ones that their websites look awesome. Their website, what they describe it, I mean, they've marketed the hell out of their place. And then you check it out and it's like, what? I would not want to stay here. It's just something that, again, I don't think that at some point we would get frustrated if we're working for our site and it's just not a nice place. So I think I would like to not have to work for our site initially. I
agree.
I think that I would like to be able to go in and pay, and it's not that much, for the month, and stay at the place to see if I like it. And then if they offer work camping positions, if we do like it, then maybe we'd want to go ahead and do it. Do we want to stay at one campground and work a normal job? If we found a good campground, I would.
And a decent job
And
that we wanted to do.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If there was a lot of jobs in the area,
I'm
just
not gonna
quit and go to another one.
Well, that's true.
Who cares?
That's true.
And this is a hard concept for us to grasp, and I'll tell you why. This area, this economy, the way that's been for years, if you get a decent job, you hold on to the job as hard as you can, because even if you find one you like, which I found a couple that I liked, they just let you go because of the economy. Whenever I was working for a company that serviced power equipment, and I transferred down south to that one from this area here, I couldn't believe the attitude of the workers in the other shop, even though they're owned by the same company, and it was, ultimately exactly the same as the one that I worked at, not but maybe 15, 20 miles from here. It was about 20 miles from here. The attitude of everybody at this shop up north was they were working their asses off. They wanted to be considered as a full-time mechanic and kept year-round, which I was brought into that year-round position right away, which I was really lucky, because there's one thing I know, and it's definitely small engines and how to get stuff fixed. And not only get it fixed, but get it done cheap, get it done right, and not spend a lot of time and money throwing parts at stuff. So I've always been able to get that full-time offering right away, because a lot of the stuff's seasonal here. Outdoor power equipment's very seasonal. Down south, it's still seasonal, and they do let some guys go, but most of those guys didn't care, and they would come to work and be drinking and stuff at lunch. And I said, man, what if you get fired? You've been here for like 10 years. And he says, I'll go down the street and get another job. And it's because the area that we were at, in the Tampa Bay area, there was just jobs falling off the trees. At that time, there was a lot of jobs that were being offered. So it's kind of hard to think about that. And that's why I mentioned, if we go somewhere and we don't like the job, we'll just quit and get another job. I mean, we've been forced to work jobs that we've hated for years. So it's going to be a weird concept for us not to do that, because we just put up with it and just nose to the grindstone and keep on going. It'd be nice. I guess that's just something that we would have to get used to, I guess. But yeah, ultimately, let's do an example, and again, bringing up Florida. As far as staying in one place and getting a normal job, if we went to the Keys, and I was given a job that paid me $14 an hour, and it was 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, and we had a site that, I don't care where it is in the Keys, if we had any place down there, I could see staying there and working a normal job. There is no doubt about it. I mean, 70-degree weather year-round. I mean, the coldest 70 degrees and never over 100. And all those views. I mean, the cost of living down there is a little bit higher, but again, we're pretty simple, which I'll get to the simple people thing later. All right, so if we're working someplace, or we're not working someplace, or we're out on the road, what about health insurance? In my case, I know exactly my situation. I'm lucky that I have the VA available to me, to where I can get treated. I just have to be able to get to a VA medical center or hospital.
I do not.
She does not. So there's something. Go ahead, ask the folks.
What do you all do?
Yeah.
What is the answer?
What do you guys have for insurance policies for
I've
somebody?
heard, so many things, and talking to customers at work that have retired, and $2,000 a month. That's scary.
That's a lot of money.
It's just scary. Your average person can't afford that.
I would think that seeing how, again, this is something that we're not 100% sure on, because we've never checked it out. We've always had normal jobs, normal stuff. If our income level dropped below a certain amount, then at that point, do you sign up for Obamacare and you only pay X amount of dollars because you qualify now that you're a lower income bracket? I mean, is that how that works?
don't even.
I mean, that would make sense that if you can't afford to pay the insurance because you don't have enough money, doesn't that put you in some sort of a needy bracket that you can now get a lower amount? I don't know. If you guys know, just put it in the comments. How will full-time work camping affect our retirement? Like our Social Security, really? That's what I'm kind of... Because Social Security, as far as I know, is 35 years of your highest earnings. Before we start collecting Social Security, and we're work camping, now instead of making X amount of $1,000 a year, we would be making maybe 1/5 of that. So we're going to be putting in a lot less. And Social Security is based off of your top 35 highest earning years. So at that point, how much is that going to bring down our monthly distribution once we do reach retirement age? Now, Heidi has an IRA, so it doesn't make a difference. Her IRA goes with her. So, I mean, once she drops her work and she goes work at a 7-Eleven pushing cigarettes across the counter, she can still contribute to the IRA if she wants to. And that's just a hypothetical. She would never do that. she would never work at 7-Eleven.
There's nothing wrong with working at a 7-Eleven, but I already kind of do that.
Yeah, she works at a 7-Eleven that sells parts instead of cigarettes. And the funny part is you sell just as many condiments and candies and stuff as 7-Eleven does.
Yeah.
I don't, what's that doing in a parts store? Do you guys actually sell a lot of stuff off the shelves? Cokes, waters, candy bars, nuts, chips?
Sometimes.
I think mainly they sell that to the employees.
Yeah.
Because they work so hard they can't get out for lunch.
That happens sometimes.
How much money are we going to have coming in when we're 63 years old from Social Security? We don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I think we should at this point in our life.
I don't know. Isn't the retirement age older now?
Yeah, it's retired. I just put 63. I know it's like 65 or something like that.
It's probably 70.
I have no idea how much money I'm going to have coming in. And it's going to be interesting to figure that out one day. Because I do have some sort of little retirement that I have from a job that I worked prior. But it's very little. And, of course, just like everything else, if I wait longer to claim it, I'll get more. I mean, I can start getting some of that money at 55. So in 6 years' time, I can actually start getting money coming in monthly. But it's very little. Yeah, we definitely need a financial advisor, because I'll tell you, the very first question that I would have for them is, if we stopped working today, our normal jobs, and we just went and made $10 an hour working other jobs out there throughout the country, how would that affect us, and when can we start drawing, and at what time, if we start drawing at the minimum age, how much would we get versus drawing at the maximum age? I think that's a good thing. We need to seek out a financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so out on the road, what kind of problems do you think we're going to have with our Wi-Fi? Because we want to continue to do videos. We watch videos. We definitely need Wi-Fi service. So I've seen so many different options out there, and you get some people saying, oh, Sprint's horrible. I don't even want to say the S word. And then you get other people that say AT&T's horrible. I don't think we do AT&T. Verizon, I heard is pretty good. Then at that point, how much, as far as data, I mean, we got to figure all that stuff out, because right now, if we went based off of what we use in the household as far as gigabytes are concerned, now my son works and screws around and downloads tons of stuff on the computer. Taking my son out of the equation would drop the number on how many gigabytes we use a month in our household. However, we run about 300 to 500 gigabytes a month that we use, between our cell phones being all linked into it, our tablets, the Roku, the Chromecast,
but we probably won't have
movie downloads, our video uploads. I mean, there's a lot. We have a lot of data that we use, but we would cut that back considerably, and we would start doing the hunting out Wi-Fi and that. But it's still, I want to be able to have 3G, 4G service for the most part of the country. So I need to address this, I guess, to people that travel extensively. Do you guys have one service that you found overall to be the best between Verizon, Sprint, AT&T? That's got to be the big three that would handle that. And it seems like everybody has the Verizon Jetpack for 3G or 4G to give them a hotspot. And I'm sure that's probably what we'll get into also. So there was one called Millennium or something like that. And that one was awesome as far as what I read. But that was a few years back, and I don't know if they're still around. I'll have to check in that. Somehow they used the Verizon Jetpack and the Verizon network, but they were giving out a lot more gigabytes a month than everybody else for hardly anything. So again, if you guys have an answer for that, go ahead and do the comments, and we'll see if that makes sense to us. How much money do we really need to be out on the road monthly? Now, I've watched everybody's videos, and they all have different amounts, but it seems like, for the most part, that everybody is under $1,000 a month when they're out there staying on the road. There's some boondocking involved, stuff like that, but everybody seems to be under $1,000 a month. Health insurance, the Wi-Fi data, and then actually just staying at places, and gas and maintenance.
And food.
And food. And food too. But
I don't see
food's not that
$1,000.
much. You don't see $1,000 a month?
I see more.
You see more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The two of us, seriously, really? Wow. See, this is what we want to talk about. I can't imagine being $1,000 more a month. If you think about it, your lot would be at the most $500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Your gas to get to those places, let's say, is going to be, well, I guess that could be, yeah.
You got insurance, you got gas, you got rent, you got...
No lot rent, you mean?
Yeah. Insurance and rent, I bet you that's $700 or $800 a month together.
Like I said, at the most, it's $500 a month for the lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's... Well, I never really thought about it. I guess now I think about the gas, that truck would use $400 to go 1,000 miles. But then again, why would we,
Right.
we may not go 1,000 miles.
And if we get somewhere, maybe we'll pick up a car or something that gets 33 miles to the gallon.
Or bicycles.
Or bicycles.
Or a
Oh,
scooter.
that's right. We'll be living on the beach. He won't be riding no bicycle.
I won't ride a bicycle. I'll walk. I can ride a bicycle just fine. We always refer to how lazy I am, but I mean, I can do that stuff. I choose not to. I used to do it all the time when I was younger. All the time. I don't know, maybe I bicycled myself out. Maybe I walked myself out. I do need to walk more. That'd be nice. For some more of the fun stuff now. What locations do we want to visit and stay? Like our bucket list. Where does Michael want to go and stay?
Florida.
Yeah, I want to get back to Florida for sure. And not only Florida, but the main thing, I want to go to the Keys. I've never been to the Keys all the years that I lived down there. I'm hoping that I go down there and it's a great place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. That's what I'm hoping, because living there is so costly. I know that it's expensive. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's kind of like a Myrtle Beach thing. We like to go to Myrtle Beach. It's a nice place to visit. I would never want to live there. But it's a nice place to visit. So that's on the bucket list. We know Arizona, out that way. I want to go see Quartzsite. I just want to go see it because everybody's been there. It's such a big RV thing. I want to go out there and check it out. Some of the BLM lands to where you just go out and park, that'll get it to where we need to get into solar for sure. I know that. Or a generator, which I think we have a generator in mind that we would like, as long as it runs the air conditioner. And again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things we have to add once we get out there. The reflectives to the windows for the heat. I mean, stuff like that. Definitely, it'll be interesting. I think maybe out in the Pacific Northwest, I think I might like to try some of those places. Wyoming, which isn't so Pacific Northwest. I don't know, Oregon maybe, Seattle, Washington area. Not the city.
It'd be cool
so
out
much.
there to visit.
Just to check it out. I think we'd like to visit along water for sure. Texas, why not? I'd like to try Texas out. I think that we probably don't know where we want to go necessarily, because a lot of the places we haven't been, and there's only a few places that really catch my eye that I'm like, wow, I'd like to go see that. The Grand Canyon stuff, obviously, some of those landmarks, the big Yosemite. I'd like to go stay out at the park, which I can't remember the name of, the Close Encounters of the Third Kind Devil's Tower thing, that Devil's Tower area. I'd like to go try that out. What about you?
I just want to go out west.
Tennessee?
I like Tennessee.
Go check out Dale Hollow.
We could do that.
That's kind of camping on the water. Those guys are out in the water. But I guess you could camp along the water.
It's like 450 miles of water. There's just anywhere it's peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's just a few places we definitely want to bucket list. How long are we going to be staying at each location?
That probably depends on our income.
It would depend on the income. And the funny part is
and how much we like it.
I'm having a hard time grasping the concept that the less you have, the longer you have to stay. That seems odd to me. The less money you have, the longer you have to stay in that location, because number one, the monthly rent is going to be less than a weekly rent or a daily rent. And also, you're not spending gas the longer that you stay in one spot. So that's a hard concept to get my head around, because usually whenever you don't have as much money, you need to move and go somewhere else and do something else. Again, the boondocking thing will definitely come into play, I think.
I see a lot of boondocking to getting to places.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
See actually just boondocking. But,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's what most people do that for,
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that we would boondock.
But it would be
overnight.
neat to go out in the middle of no man's land and stop for a night and then continue on. That would be neat.
Yeah. I think so. The BLM stuff, for sure. I'd have to try that out. I wish there was more BLM near us, but I don't know of any. I would try it if there was.
Right.
Maybe we'll look that up and see if there is any. How much money will it cost in gas versus staying put? Well, we know that it's going to be more expensive, again, to be moving around because of the gas. And unless we're boondocking, every time you move, you're spending money. Every single time. So again, it's a hard concept to grasp, but if you sit still, it doesn't cost you any money. So the longer you stay in one place. So we'll have to, I don't know exactly how much that would be. It depends on how far we go.
Right.
Do we want to try a resort campground membership? I see a lot of different things on that. And the thing that I have a problem with is I think it's the monthly outlay, because it's a monthly payment. And I know that if we're full-timing 100% and moving around for sure and want to check out a lot of locations, I could see where it would be beneficial. It would probably be cheaper. The whole thing is the staying 10 days and then having to be gone for 7 days and then getting back into the system for 10 days.
We'd really have to have a plan. I mean,
yeah,
and almost yearly.
And people get 2 memberships. That way, whenever they're in that off week, they can go use their other membership. And the thing is some of them don't cover all the areas. And you can buy zones, which I'm talking about Thousand Trails mainly here. I haven't researched all of them, but I know that Thousand Trails, you buy zones and you buy one, get one, 2 or something like that, to where you can do 2 zones. For us, if we did buy one, get one, we would be able to cover this East Coast area really well. But there's not a lot of campgrounds out there, so you're limited to getting to those campgrounds. And then there's the upgrade. You can do some sort of an extra where you pay extra a month and you can stay 20 days at a time. That might be something to look at. Mm-hmm. But still, it's a pretty decent amount of money, I think, coming out monthly.
All right.
Now I'm thinking that $1,000 a month you said was definitely
slowly dwindling down.
Slowly going away. So yeah, we would probably consider campground memberships as long as we could figure out which ones would work out for us and what we want to do.
It definitely have to be beneficial.
I think that we
I
would.
mean-
Well, the only way we would know if it's beneficial at this point, unfortunately, is we would have to not get a membership and go out and just travel and see how much money we're spending.
Right.
And then at that point, realize, wait a minute, we could save a lot more money if we could get into this membership. You know, maybe we would have to see. So that's pretty much it. We've pretty much covered everything. That's all we can really think of at this point. And again, we wanted to ask these questions out loud and talk about it amongst ourselves and see what we thought and see if this jarred anything in your guys' heads to get thinking about. And some of the things we're talking about, you might have answers to already easily and say, oh yeah, don't worry about this, do that. Just understand at this point, we aren't going to be doing it right away, and we're kind of putting feelers out as far as what other people think. So if you've got an idea that might pertain to the situation right now, you know, of course, 5 years, 8 years from now, that might be different. Perfect example in our case. Fuel prices are really low right now, considering. I mean, we're running around $1.96, $1.95 a gallon. And it's been like that for the last few weeks because we're into our winter blend. So that's always a little bit cheaper here in the north. And this area, we've just had cheaper gas. And that's been going on for probably...
a couple weeks. Anyway.
Yeah, at least a couple weeks. And even prior to that, it was only $2.16.
Right.
So, you know, 5 years from now, we could be back up to $4, almost $5 a gallon. And... at that point, traveling would be limited severely because whenever you have a vehicle that's getting probably 8 miles to the gallon, yeah, it'll be rough. So, again, if you guys have ideas, let us know. Heidi brought up a couple of things that she's interested in as far as insurance that we don't have answers to right away. And there's a lot of number crunching that we have to do, but unfortunately, a lot of the numbers that we need to put into the blanks we don't know yet because of either our age or we need to discuss it more with financial advisors, and also as far as making decisions on the home and keeping it and renting it and how much outlay is going to be involved there. So we still have a lot of questions up in the air, and we're just wanting to stimulate your thinking as long as our thinking goes, and maybe get an idea of what we'd like to do and when we'd like to do it, how much further down the road. We've got some more stuff that'll be coming up, I'm sure. It's going to be getting colder, but I've got some things I got to do on my truck yet, and possibly some winter camping or some camping in off season, which we've never done before. So that'll be something that we will keep you updated on. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you watching.
Have a good day. Bye.
Hope to see you guys out there. Bye.